By Friday, the world will be glued to South Africa. There's not much more marketers and advertisers can do to conjure up support, expose their brands and cash in on the 2010 bandwagon.
It appears as though Vodacom and Nike, two non-sponsors of the event, have used their sports sponsorship to their benefit without stepping on FIFA's toes. Vodacom's joined the voice behind Bafana Bafana and Player 23 campaigns have done just this. Let's take a look.
It's the year 2010, and we're gonna hoy like it's 95 all over again. Couple.
Yo, Bafana chick, here's a few tips to help your case. Some else will show you moves, then let's fight
Face to your face.
Move against your today, how to take up half the space, how to keep the box clear with
Just a look on his face.
Indian good, cancel Gaga, how to let no one through. They leave James at the back
With nothing to do.
Jesse cancel Pina, a new way to play the sport. How to cut the line up like my old Ford. Every match needs a moment where you can hear a booty drop. Yes, a Joel can show Impela how to make the men go pop. So check, we're just saying if you need us, we'll be here. We'll show them this is home ground.
You show them no fear. We believe in you, Bafana. The trophy stays here.
We're now joined by Creative Director at Draft FCB, Grant Jacobson, to take this further. Welcome to the show. So, not being a sponsor or official sponsor of the World Cup, did you bump any heads with FIFA?
Not really. You know, we've always been a sponsor and a proud one of Bafana Bafana. We know that millions of people in South Africa love the national teams. We sponsor both the rugby and the soccer guys. And so in arriving at this campaign, it felt like the most natural thing to do.
But it must have been definitely difficult to not step on their toes, FIFA's toes.
You know, not really.
Not really.
No,
that's good.
it wasn't that hard, actually.
Yeah. And I saw you driving to the advert that we were just playing. It's still quite new and exciting for you.
Yeah, it was a hell of a lot of fun, you know.
It looks like it.
And Jan and Elton, did you know that you'd bring them back after the whole Rugby Player 23 campaign?
Not at all. That wasn't planned in the least. We had done the soccer campaign, we'd make the circle bigger, you know, South Africans showing their support for the national team. And then one of the guys had this bright idea of saying, hey, why don't we get all the rugby guys to join the support? And then we started to play with that idea. Up cropped Jan and Elton. Next thing, we had this execution. Next thing, we have an ad, and we love it. It's a great bit of fun.
Yeah. Well, Gordon, do you think that companies have to change their strategies completely for the World Cup?
I think most companies have, apart from the obvious changes that have taken place from a media perspective. I think most companies have looked at the 2010 event as an opportunity to leverage national pride and to really close the gap between their brands and the consumers. Yeah. Vodacom have done it, I believe, superbly.
Isn't there concern that it could eventually all be similar? Because everyone's working on a new strategy. How do you come up with one that really wins?
The event is a short-term event. I think it would be very foolish for a company to change their personality for such a short-term event. And really it's not about the result of the event, it's about the participation and how the whole of South Africa will be supporting Bafana Bafana and the rest of Africa throughout the event.
Doug, your views on the campaign?
Yeah, I like it. You know, we work with a whole lot of partners, Vodacom being one of them, very big partner of ours. So I personally like the campaign a lot, and hopefully it does very well for them. And you know, as the guys said, it's very much South African as opposed to an African or an international thing, and that's great. You know, I think Vodacom have been very clear in their message, being a great South African supporter of sport.
Grant, from a strategic point of view, why sport? Why support sport?
People are really passionate about very few things in life. Sport is one of them. And particularly high intensity sports like rugby and soccer. And it's always been a sponsorship tactic or strategy of Vodacom's. You know, short 80 minutes or 90 minutes of a game, you really get people going, get their blood going, they love it. And to be the brand that's in the middle of that people love so much, to be a brand that people love and to be involved with that is a very, very smart and it's been very successful for us as a brand.
Gordon, do you think this could build loyalty to a brand?
Well, it certainly should. It's a very authentic campaign. I mean, the individuals that are reflected in the commercial are not pretty people. They're real and they've got personalities. And I think that authenticity is incredibly important. I think the strategy that Vodacom have taken, while I think you're being very modest about and humble about how MTN may view it, there's no doubt in my mind that you've stolen the edge on MTN.
Yeah.
I can
That's
say
very
that.
kind,
I
yeah.
can say that.
Wow.
Yeah, he
I
can't
think it'd be
pat himself.
foolish not to say that. It's
But
a
the
great
question is,
campaign.
why is Vodacom not a sponsor, official sponsor of the World Cup?
Again, you know, we're South Africa's leading cellular network. We appeal to all South Africans. We have the largest majority of stake in that market in this country. And I think, again, to that point about sponsoring, being where people love, being involved with things that people love, it made sense for us to put all our money, put all of our voice behind the local points. Bafana, Player 23, the Springboks. It felt like the right thing to do.
Yeah. But Gordon, isn't it a little bit short-sighted not to have done the rest of Africa and just focused or honed in on Bafana and just South Africa?
I've always believed in do what you do well.
Okay.
And to spread your resources so thin, irrespective of who you are, what your strategy is, I think is a mistake. And I would guess that Vodacom have taken a similar view.
Well, what are you trying to do to get the rest of Africa involved as Vodacom?
That's MTN's job.
That's where they
It's a
come
total
in.
South Africa focus at the moment, isn't it? So tell us about the other media platforms during this campaign.
Yeah, the Join the Voice Behind Bafana has, well, it's got one of the biggest outdoor campaigns we've ever done. I mean, I was seeing a figure the other day in square meterage. I think we're twice bigger than any of our nearest competitors. So that message and that bright and sort of energized approach is all over the place. You've no doubt seen it. The campaign has moved out to SMS leverage. You know, we're trying to get a record number of messages of support behind the campaign, behind Bafana. Retail leverage, it's gone into every channel that we have, including the retail channel. So very strong.
Has this influenced your bottom line at the end of the day?
Well, it's not my bottom line, it's Vodacom's. And yes, I imagine it has.
I think it would be very hard to measure, given the momentum within a cellular phone company like Vodacom now.
No, it's probably difficult to segment out exactly that. You know, some of the stuff's more quantifiable. I mean, SMS campaign, you can quantify it.
Yeah.
An ad campaign of that magnitude, difficult. But I think, you know, Grant, you made the point, and Gordon, the beauty of sport, it's passion branding. And if you look just back, moving away from soccer for a second, at last week's Vodacom Super 14 final, it's a classic example of people coming together. And hopefully it was more than just 80 minutes of nation building. You know, we look back at 95, the campaign that we saw now was far more than rugby. Speaking to those players, they thought they played rugby, but they did far more. We hope that Bafana does far more for us, and certainly hats off to Vodacom and the Bulls in particular for moving their home game to Orlando, which was a fantastic
we feel
coup.
your power there.
And strategically, that was fantastic. I mean, who would have thought?
No, absolutely. And I think that's perhaps the adaptability of South Africans used and sport as a catalyst. You know, it's a wonderful moment, because for those 80 minutes, everything else is forgotten. It doesn't matter. You look at your mate in your eye, in his eyes, and you really love what you're seeing. And I think that's the beauty of Vodacom coming behind sport and done so aggressively. It's all about that. And for me, and Gordon made the point, it's not just about that. You've got to have the knock-on effect. And if we can do that, then, geez, it all goes well for the future.
True.
Well, as Fenley said earlier, Nike has also managed to advertise around the World Cup without causing too many waves. Here's how Nike believes players can write the future.
Yeah, I think everyone loved the new ad. It's filmed it anyway. I got the feeling that it was going to be a massive hit, and it filmed so many different athletes, players around the world, and they all come together for this one ad. So it will. I'm sure it'll look good.
A goal by Cristiano Ronaldo or Drogba or some amazing moment of Cannavaro, you know, can change people's attitude or will react and trigger emotion and excitement or disillusion and sadness in millions of people simultaneously around the world. That's the ability of football, and that's what these players are doing while they are playing. So this, with a deep sense of humor this commercial is about. We shot this film in 6 different countries, in 9 different cities, during almost 60 days, globe-trotting with a huge team. And it was a very complicated schedule, very complicated weather conditions. It was a winter in Europe, and we went even to Africa. So it was a tough production, logistically speaking. But the results are satisfying, I think.
Gordon, don't you think that was an amazing ad with Bart Simpson in it? And I like the part where they say, just rue it.
Yeah, it's a very energetic campaign. I think the creative, not that I'm qualified to talk about creative, but I think the creative delivery is exceptional. From a media point of view, obviously the long duration has pros and cons. There's a compromise.
Yeah,
and
I just thought it was a bit of a lull from the beginning, don't you think, Grant?
No, I think it's an amazing thing.
Well, let's get a comment from a creative point of view.
I think there are 2 things that are spectacular about that piece. I think the one is, firstly, the insight is magnificent. You know, like the destinies of people, they live or die by what they do on the pitch, I think is one. And I think the second thing is the surprise. You know, the genius of that is those moments where you see things that you've never seen before. And it's so rewarding and engaging to see Rooney with a beer gut, and to see him as a carny, is what actually just draws you into that ad. I think it's a fantastic execution of an amazing insight. It's a great ad.
Doug?
You don't think it's too Eurocentric?
No, I think the insight is universally understood.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Doug, your thoughts?
Well, I think, Gordon, it's a World Cup ad, and I think people, you know, a lot of South Africans and Africans support other sides, you know, there's club sides around the world, and so on. So I think it will resonate with a lot of people. I like it, and I think what it does as well is it shows you the fine line between winning and losing.
Yep.
You know, if you the one day you get knighted, or you paint the lines for a 3rd division side, that's the difference, and there's no margin for error in between. So I like it. I thought it was a great ad. Your point there, you know, it's in its full length. I think it's over 3 minutes.
Yep.
But you know, on TV they play 30-40 seconds, so you only get snippets, which unless you've seen the full one, you tend to not get the full value.
Yeah,
True.
but sports lovers are loving it, even though it's 3 minutes.
It's a great ad, and I think it cuts through a lot of other things. You know, there's the pride, there's the unveiling of the statue, there's all of those things that you associate with it. But then, as you know, as Grant said, there's the trailer park, and you realise the opposite side. And sometimes that's unfortunately the scrap heap of players. You know, and at 30-35, it's all over. And so you only see the one side often.
It just shows you just as good as the last game you've played.
It's an old age. You know?